Game on. The Extra Innings Podcast starts now. Let's talk baseball. You should stick around to hear our player of the weekend and much more. We're going to hop right in now. Who is. Oh, wait, no, that's. What are the weekend. First weekends, we're going to do weekend series recaps and give our thoughts and opinions. So start us off, Bradley, with the first weekend series recap.
Well, me and Alec are homers here, but I'm going to start with the Rays taking 2 out of 3 from the Marlins over the weekend.
What are your thoughts on that series?
Well, if you look back at it, all 3 games were, I think, 1-run wins for the or 1-run wins for whoever won. They were all close. I think this shows that the Rays are turning a corner. I think this is showing how the team that we all thought they were supposed to be earlier in the year, and they're starting to turn that corner. Obviously, if you look back last night when they beat my Red Sox in extras, it's the thing with they're turning a corner, and I think this is good for the Rays moving forward since they're tied for second right now in the AL East with the Blue Jays. So, yeah.
My takeaway for the Rays is, yes, they are turning a corner, and I noticed something in the Marlins series with Christopher Morel, who I think we talked about on the show last Thursday, and how the Rays were talking about when Johnny DeLuca comes back, how Morel might be the one to be the odd man out. One of the games, Morel went 3 for 3 with 2 home runs. And I believe it was the Saturday game. So maybe Christopher Morel doesn't want to be the one that gets
chopped. Yep.
Yeah. What do we think? What's your takeaway from the Marlins side of this?
Well, I think both of us, last week predicted that they were going to get swept by the Rays. They did take 1 game in the series. So if you want to look at it like that, there might be a positive on that, but they're a long way away. Obviously, we both know that they're a ways away from being in the thick of it again. So they're young. So it's time to build, and I think that's what they're trying to do in Miami. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think it was Saturday, Ryan Weathers was pitching, and there's a scary moment before he threw his first pitch in the bottom of the first inning. He got whacked in the head when they were throwing the ball around the diamond.
Uh-oh. Okay.
And everybody's like, not to shame the Marlins or anything, but they should not have let him stay in the game. The ball hit him square in the back of the head.
Yeah, he should have been what they call concussion protocol.
They did do concussion protocol, and they said he passed.
I think I'd still take him out. You get hit in the back of the head.
I would have done the same thing. I would have took him out. He ended up leaving the game in like the 4th inning with right lat tightness.
Gotcha.
Which that seems a little fishy to me. And they put him on the 60-day injured list.
Okay.
I'm thinking he left more because he was still feeling the effects of getting
hit in the head.
Yeah. And the other takeaway I have from this series is the Rays are really going to have a tough choice when DeLuca comes back of who to send down in the outfield. Like, I don't want them to send down Cameron Meister, but I feel like he's going to be the odd one out. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. I think we will see Chandler Simpson back up in the big leagues within the next 3 or 4 weeks. One of his
I agree.
first games back in AAA, he went 5 for 5. And I've been throwing this question out there on Twitter to like Rays fans and MLB fans. Should the Rays, and I know we're not getting off topic here. We're still doing weekend recap, but we're kind of going extended with the Rays here. Do you think it's time for the Rays to just move off of Taylor Walls?
Yes, I do. Honestly, he can play defense, but the kid can't hit, and you just cannot.
Even though he had a home run over the weekend.
Yeah, but then what do they always say? That they always say a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So no.
Well, and the reason I say that is, have you seen what Carson Williams did over the weekend?
In Durham? No,
Yeah, 4 for 6, 7 RBIs, 2 home runs.
Yeah.
In one game.
That tells you right there that you have the talent in Durham, and it's time maybe to cut ties, DNF Taylor, and bring Carson up. That would be my.
But then the problem is you run into the same issue when you get Hassan Kim back.
And I've been hearing rumors, but on the radio locally, that he could be making his major league debut in the Orioles series, which I think is next week, next Monday or something like that. I think it's.
You mean season debut?
Season debut, yeah. Let me see what the schedule is for the Rays. I think because the local Tampa Bay, they're having a night out with the radio station, and the game is on Monday. I believe that's when they play the Orioles. Yes. So it could be the Monday, June 16th game, because the Rays have 3 against Baltimore starting on the 16th. So yeah, you could see him as early as a week from yesterday. So about 6 days from now, give or take. So
see, but then, like I said, that's the problem you run into. If you were to call up Carson Williams, I mean, you could play him at short, but then you run into the issue. I mean, Caballero's been playing good too.
Yeah.
But Caballero could play everywhere. So there's really, he's not blocked because he can play outfield. He could play third base, second base, short. But then again, people are like, oh, Carson Williams is blocked. If you were to call him up, he's not going to get regular at bats. I wouldn't say he's not going to. I would just say you either get rid of Taylor Walls, like we just said, because Lau can be a platoon. He could platoon with like Hassan Kim and Caballero.
And you could also bat him DH too, just to rest somebody else, giving somebody else a rest day. Too.
Well, the problem is you got Yandy's clocking up the DH spot.
Yeah, make him play first base. But then you got Aranda. So yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. Okay, now what is the next weekend series recap?
I think, Bud, you predicted this one. The Pirates sweep the Phillies. I think you predicted that when on our show on last Thursday. I think you predicted that. So yeah.
Yeah. And I saw the Phillies fan that I was talking about last week. Oh, he's calling his own team poverty now.
Wow. Okay.
Boy, how the what's the old saying? How the tides have turned. But then yet last night, not to get off topic, but last night he was doing making videos, and he gets to the Angels and Athletics game. He's like, "Oh, who's watching this game between these two poverty franchises?" I wanted to say you are. Yeah. You're making a clip of it because the center fielder for the A's I don't know if you saw it. He robbed a home run. He literally went over the fence.
Might be the greatest catch of the year right now.
It might be
Last night.
the catch of the
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
Denzel Clark.
Yep. I saw
But
it.
yeah, I did
Yep.
say the Phillies were going to get swept by the Pirates.
Yeah. Yep.
Phillies fans, I think it's time to be.
Wake up. You need to
I
wake
think
up.
it's time to wake up and smell the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You lost first place to the Mets, and you're over here talking trash to to Braves fans who are in fourth place.
Oh, and then we can go back and say the same Mets team that swept the Rockies. So, so you want to talk about the Mets? So, yeah.
Yeah. But my takeaway is maybe the Pirates are starting to turn things around.
Well, all the games were one run wins for them. So, hey, that means they made pitches, they made plays when they needed to, and they got hits when they needed to. So, absolutely.
Yes. And the other Phillies fans, you need to tell your fan base to stop talking garbage about other teams' players.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, for example, the latest one was they're still saying, "Oh, Pete Crow Armstrong, nobody's heard of him." When are you going to learn that Pete Crow Armstrong might be your NL MVP this year?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
What is your takeaway from either Phillies or the Pirates side?
Well, I think, as you mentioned, but I think the fan base and the players need to wake up and smell the coffee, because I think, were they 4 games back now, the Mets?
4.5.
4.5, which is not a big number. They're not, 27 games back like the Rockies are, but still, you need to, like Alex said, you need to stop talking about other players and all that stuff and just focus on winning games, because actually it probably should have been the opposite. You should have swept the Pirates, and good for Pittsburgh. Like you said, maybe they're starting to turn the corner here and go, hey, we're not as bad as you thought we were. So we're still here.
And I'm not going to spoil my player of the weekend, but it's somebody from the Pirates.
Okay.
And the other thing I'm going to say is, Phillies fans, you need to stop talking about the Yankees. It seems like the Yankees live rent free in your head. Because all I heard before we get to the next weekend recap, all I hear from Phillies fans is, "Oh, the Yankees are cheating because they're using torpedo bats." No, MLB came out and said that the torpedo bats are completely legal.
Can be used by any team. Yeah.
Yep. And Phillies fans, you should be the last ones talking, because didn't you just have a pitcher get popped for using a banned substance, if I recall?
There you go.
As I like to say, what's good for the geese isn't good for the gander.
Correct.
What is the next weekend recap?
We can talk about the Yankees, because they lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox. So we can talk about the Yankees if you want. I wish it was a sweep. Unfortunately, it didn't end up that way. But on Friday night, we got our butts handed to us by the Yankees. But the next 2 nights,
Saturday and Sunday were.
Yeah. And we get to play them again this weekend, but at home at Boston instead of New York. So
with Roman Anthony.
Yeah, making his major league debut last night. So
okay, so we can both do. What is your takeaway from the Red Sox in this 3-game set against the Yankees?
Hopefully they take this winning. The rivalry is not quite where it used to be. Maybe, or I guess that's been so one-sided with the Yankees winning a majority of them now. So hopefully this can kind of restart the fire a little bit. But I think maybe the Red Sox, despite the injuries, maybe they're starting to go, hey, we can still win. I mean, I know they called up Roman Anthony finally, since the kid hit a 430-foot home run the other night in AAA.
And let me say this correctly, Worcester.
Yeah, with
Worcester.
with the Worcester Red Sox. Yeah. I mean, my takeaway is they gained ground. I mean, I know they're in fourth. They're still behind the Rays and Blue Jays, but we're ahead of the Orioles. So, there's got to be a positive with that.
Well, and that's the other thing. Moment. You know what? We talk all this smack about the Orioles, but all of a sudden, they're starting to win games.
Yeah. Yep. They sure are.
But I don't think that's going to make a difference.
Might be too little, too late.
Yeah. What is the next one?
The Rangers took 2 out of 3 from the Nationals.
I think we kind of predicted that on Thursday.
Yeah, the Rangers were shut out in game 1, and then they won the final 2. So, bounce back for them. Yep.
Yep. But Nationals fans, you still have a bright future ahead, and it sounds like the Nationals have an open spot on their roster, and I've been hearing rumblings that this might be because a certain one of their prospects might be getting the call. And his name, say his name,
and he
might appear. Brady House. That's the name that Nationals fans are throwing around. They're saying, oh, he might get called up. Problem is, they would have to either DFA somebody or to open a roster spot, put somebody on the 60-day injured list because he's not currently on the 40-man roster. So they might turn to a depth bat like a Darren Baker or Andres Chaparro. But like I said, nothing to be ashamed of in that, Washington Nationals fans. The Rangers are good. And I think they figure, to give a brief description, I think that the Rangers have found their offense. I think it's safe to say that they've found their offense after struggling for the last couple of weeks.
I agree. The next one, Bud, that I have is the Reds sweep the Diamondbacks. That's got to be big for Cincinnati.
That is. I mean, well, and one of the games they didn't have Ellie because he got his flight. He's in the Dominican Republic attending to a family.
His sister passing away.
Yeah. And coming back, I think he was supposed to be there for the game on Friday. But his flight from the Dominican Republic back to Cincinnati got canceled. So he was stuck in the Dominican Republic an extra day. But I mean, I guess it all worked out because Friday's game got suspended and had to be picked up on Saturday. And not only did he get a big hit, a guy that's been on the injured list for probably 2 months, Christian Encarnacion Strand, had the game-winning hit. And absurd stat of the week, since coming off the injured list in 4 games, Christian Encarnacion Strand, as of recording, as of us being live today, is 6 for 11 with 3 home runs.
Nice. Well, for me, for me, it got the Reds back over 500, which is good. That's going in the right direction. The
And
next one,
breaking news, Corbin Burns is going to be out the rest of the season. He is having, it sounds like he's going to have Tommy John surgery.
I read about that. Yep, I read that.
So that is a huge loss for the Diamondbacks rotation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And I'm sorry, Diamondbacks fans. I think you probably should sell at the deadline because you can get a good return for Zach Gallen. You can get a good return for Merrill Kelly and for Eugenio Suarez. And you can have Jordan Lawler play every day at third base.
Mm-hmm. The next one is the Tigers took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs.
Which we kind of predicted it was going to be one or the other. Somebody was going to take 2 out of 3 from this. Like we said, this might be a World Series preview.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there really is any takeaways here because both these teams are pretty good. These teams lead their division.
I was going to say I don't think, I mean, even with the Cubs losing 2, it didn't hurt them because I think they're up by 6 or 7 games on the Cardinals. So it didn't really hurt them.
And I think the Cardinals are going to end up fizzling out. The next one we should do is the Twins because I think I'm going to say this, and I know we're going to get grief from Twins fans. Who did they play over the weekend?
The Toronto Blue Jays.
Twins fans, I'm sorry. I think the downfall has started. Have you seen what their record is since that 13-game winning streak?
I have not.
They're 8-10 in their last 12 games since that 13-game winning streak.
Yep, that could be the other side of the coin.
Yeah,
to show up.
And I think, I'm sorry, Twins fans, but I think you need to go into sell mode because you don't know when you're going to get Pablo Lopez back. Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton are one injury away from being gone for the season. And if you want to trade them and get some type of value, now's the time.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
As we say, the Dodgers don't need any more help, but go ahead and give them Carlos Correa for free. Do not give them Byron Buxton. They don't need help in the outfield. If you get Correa, you can easily move Mookie Betts to center field. Even though Andy Pages has been really good for the Dodgers this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing the Dodgers need the most is pitching. Half their rotation's on the injured list.
A lot of them are. Yep.
Who was the next? We're going to do 3 more, and then we're going to move on to the next.
Okay. How about the White Sox taking 2 out of 3 from the Royals?
I'll let you take this one first.
This is bad for Kansas City. This is a team that you should have won 2 out of 3 or even swept. So this is bad for Kansas City. So I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to be a seller at the deadline, or you just stay pat and I don't just take calls for trades. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know who they would have that they would be able to trade. I mean, maybe Estevez. You're not trading Caglione. You're not trading Bobby Witt.
Nope.
You're not trading Pasquantino.
Yeah,
I would sure as heck hope you're not going to trade a guy like Salvador Perez.
No, I honestly think
unless he says he wants to go somewhere where he can win a title.
Well, he was there in 2015 when they won, so I think he retires as a Royal. I don't think so.
I do too.
Goes anywhere. So
maybe not to sound cliche or anything. Maybe this is the White Sox trying to turn it around.
Could be.
Because the guy we're going to talk about later had a decently good weekend. And we're going to talk about Kyle Teal later on in the show. And we're going to project his stats for the rest of the year. What is the second to last weekend series?
Let's do the Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers.
Well, Dodgers fans, I think reality's setting in. I think reality's setting in. That maybe you're still good, but maybe there is another avenue you could go. Because I don't think, like we both said before the season, we don't think that y'all are going to win the division.
I picked the Padres, so.
So did I. Wait, no, I think I picked Arizona, which that might be far fetched at this point. But and for the Cardinals, good job. You took 2 out of 3 from a really good Dodgers team, even though half their rotation, like I said a minute ago, is injured.
Correct.
And I'm sorry to say this, Dodgers fans, I think Sasaki was a bust of a free agent signing. And same with Blake Snell.
Yeah, that was the I think the biggest one. I think was Snell.
Yep. I don't think you should have signed Snell. I think you should have let Snell go somewhere else. Because you have guys sitting in AAA right now that could be up in the major leagues. Bobby Miller, Justin Robleski. Well, and Robleski did make a start over the weekend against Cardinals, but maybe for the Cardinals, again, like I said, good job. You took 2 out of 3. Maybe we're wrong on them. Maybe they are going to make the playoffs, and maybe instead of being a seller at the deadline,
be buying. Could be.
Yeah, maybe they could buy and give up some prospects and maybe get some bullpen help. I mean, I think the only person that might get dealt, I don't think they're going to deal Wilson Contreras. I think Arenado is still the only one that might get traded.
Yeah.
I don't know to who. I've heard Kansas City all of a sudden.
Okay, what were the Royals want back in return?
You mean the Cardinals?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, the Cardinals, yeah.
Probably prospects that can help them with their... I really don't want to say rebuild, but they're getting ready to go into having a new president of baseball ops in Hein Bloom next year.
Oh, the former one that ran the Rays for a while. And the Red Sox.
Yeah. Cardinals fans, have fun. And that's coming from a Rays fan and a Red Sox fan as well, and Bradley. So both of us know what Hein Bloom is like. I believe Hein Bloom's taking over the Cardinals. I could be wrong. He's either taking over the Cardinals or he's taking over somebody else's team.
No, I think you're right, but I think it is St. Louis. I think he's going to be their new
taking
GM
over for John Mozeliak.
Or the president of baseball operations, one of the two, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now we get to our players of the weekend, and yes, we each have one. Bradley, you can go first.
I'm going to take Spencer Torkelson of the Detroit Tigers.
What did he do this weekend to earn Player of the Weekend honors?
Let me pull that up real quick, bud. Let's see. He finished, he had, against the Cubs, he had 5 hits in 12 at-bats against the Cubs this weekend with 3 RBIs. He finished the series hitting 237, and that's what I had him down for. But being that was a big series for both the Tigers and the Cubs, your big players got to turn up in big times, and I think he did that this weekend for the Tigers, and there are 2 wins over the Cubs.
My player of the weekend is Pirates ace pitcher Paul Skeens. 7 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts against the Phillies. And I can guarantee you, Phillies fans were having nightmares. And in their nightmares was Paul Skeens. Now we get to who's hot, who's raking, and who's cold. Who are your 3 guys you picked for who's raking?
I have Jacob Wilson of the A's, Jose Ramirez of the Guardians, and Alejandro Kirk for the Blue Jays.
Would you happen to have their /stats?
Yes. Wilson in his last 7 games is hitting. He had 13 hits, 1 homer, 5 runs. He's hitting .433. His OPS is .452, and he's slugging .633 for Wilson with the A's.
Okay. What about
Ramirez? Is hitting .385, on base percentage of .467, slugging .538. He's had 10 hits, 1 homer, 3 RBIs in his last 7. And for Kirk, he's hitting .429 with an on-base percentage of .448, slugging .679. He's had 12 hits, 7 RBIs in the last 7 games for Mr. Kirk and the Jays.
Okay, so my 3 guys who's raking. Number 1, Rays infielder Curtis Mead. Last 15 games, 12 for, because he had an at bat the other day, so 12 for 43. 6 runs scored, 3 home runs, 4 RBIs, hitting .285 with a .332 on base and a .523 slugging, which we talked about Curtis Mead last week, and it seems like he's starting to heat up. My next guy is a team we pick on. We just talked about them a few seconds ago. The Chicago White Sox. And shortstops to the second baseman Chase Mydroff. Last 15 games, 16 for 37, 5 runs scored, a home run, 4 RBIs, 281 average, 379 on base, 345, 395 slugging. And I think he's the reason that a guy in Colson Montgomery has not been promoted yet. Not saying he's blocking Colson Montgomery, but I think they want Mydroth at either second base or shortstop, and they feel more comfortable, I would say, with a guy in Colson Montgomery playing third base. And my last guy that is raking is Cubs third baseman, who we talked about a couple weeks back, that was sent down to AAA. Since coming back from AAA, last 15 games, listen to these stats. He is 16 for 54 with 9 runs scored, a home run, 4 RBIs, 296 average, 333 on base, and a 426 slugging. So I guess you could say sitting him down to AAA for 2 weeks, he kind of figured something out.
Uh-huh.
And who are your guys that are on the opposite
So these
end
are
of the
guys.
podium?
I will start with Michael Conforto of the Dodgers. His last
Yikes.
7 games, he's at 20 at-bats, only 3 hits, 1 RBI. He's hitting a ground-pleasing 150 with an on percentage of
Oof.
261. His slugging is also at 150.
Ouch.
So,
Oh.
yes. The next one kind of shocks me because he switched teams within the division, and that's Anthony Santander of the Blue Jays. He, in the last 7, has had one run, 2 hits, and 19 at-bats, 7 strikeouts. He's hitting 105. His on-base percentage is 320, and he's hitting, and his slugging percentage is 105 also. And the last one I have is Michael Tulaga, if I'm pronouncing that last name correctly.
Tolia.
So, yeah, he's hitting a ground-pleasing 100. 2 hits.
Well, and let me say something. He's not even on the big league roster. They sent him down to AAA.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably why then he's been demoted. Okay. Hey, he's White Sox, right? I think he's with the White Sox.
Rockies.
Rockies. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Continue with the stats, though, even though he's down in AAA.
He's hitting 100. His on-base percentage is 217. His slugging is 200 in the last 7 games. So, yeah.
My 3 are I had 2 hitters and a pitcher. First one is outfielder Cameron Meisner of the Rays. Last 15 games, he is 6 for 25, 4 runs, a homer, 5 RBIs, hitting 1-7, a ground popping 171, 275 on base, 286 slugging. Then I have Diamondbacks pitcher Zach Gallen. Last 15 games, an abysmal 5.15 ERA, 71 hits given up in 80 and a third innings.
Oh, Jesus.
Earned runs 46, walks 35, 75 strikeouts. But his whip, this is very misleading. His whip was 130 on the nose.
Wow. Okay.
And then my last and personal favorite guy that is struggling, that is cold right now, Yankees outfielder Trent Grisham. I think the fall off has started for Trent Grisham. Last 15 games, 10 for 56, 6 runs scored, 1 home run, 5 RBIs, hitting a whopping 179, 292 on base percentage, 268 slug. And that's your who's hot, who's raking, who's cold segment. Now we get to probably our favorite segment, Projection Junction. What's your function? Today's projection is Kyle Teal's rest of season stats. And I will let Bradley go first with his rest of season stats projection for Mr. Kyle Teal.
Let me pull those up real quick, buddy. Let me see here. He's with the White Sox, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
And he just happened to be one of the prospects we actually ranked for the White Sox. One of many.
Let's see here. Okay, so he is currently hitting 375.
Oh, no, this is rest of season. Rest of season. What you think he's going to do rest of season?
I say, because his average right now is 375. I think at the end of the year, he'll kind of cool off a little bit. I could say 325 at the end of the year, because they'll figure him out. Obviously, they film and.
Well, yeah. And I was reading his, not to cut you off, I was reading like what they're projecting him to do. They say that he's really patient at the plate. He doesn't chase, and he'll get you 15 to 20 home runs a year.
Yeah, I could see him having that number, Bud, by the end of the year as far as home runs go. Because if he's patient, he's not gonna get. He's not being patient, smart. You're not gonna strike out, and you're not gonna leave your team in a hole. So yeah, I could see. I'm gonna say 18 home runs by the end of the year. We'll just split it in half between the 15 and the 20. 18 homers. Yeah, I mean, slugging
How many
probably.
RBIs?
By the end of the year, how about 75 RBIs? Or yeah, I don't know. That's kind of low. Um,
I mean, that might
yeah,
be. That sounds a little reasonable. How many stolen bases do you think he gets? They
is
said
he a
he
speed
has
guy?
a really good. He has decent grade speed. So
Uh maybe 10 stolen bases. If
could
he
you
has
see
decent speed,
15?
that's a possibility. That's a possibility.
Would 20 be a stretch?
I think 20 would be a stretch. If he's got decent speed, if it's not like he's got Ella De La Cruz speed, but if he has decent speed, yes, I would say 20 might be a stretch. I would say somewhere in between the 10 and 15 number probably would be a good number to go off of.
Okay, so I went 280 average on base, 480, 640 slugging, 24 home
Yep.
runs, 54 RBIs, 14 stolen bases. And then I did strikeout rate. I think it's going to be walk rate 24% because I think he's going to walk a lot. And then his strikeout rate 15%.
I like though. I like that. I like that.
And now, since we have free time, let's kind of recap that wild game between the Rays and the Red Sox from last night
Sure.
and do some other recaps from the games yesterday, since it was a lighter slate yesterday. But we're going to start with the Rays and Red Sox. I was on the edge of my seat the entire game last night between the Rays and Red Sox. I don't understand how the Rays, they had 3 different times where they had a lead of two or more runs.
Mm-hmm.
They were up 3-0, 6-3, 7-5, and then 8-7. And then they finally won it 10-8 and 11.
Correct. Yeah.
And my congratulations to, first of all, Roman Anthony on his major league debut. But there was also another major league debut in this game. Rays prospect Ian Seymour made his major league debut, got the win, and what is his prize after pitching 2 innings and making his major league debut?
Demotion.
Yeah, because you need a fresh arm. Okay, Cashy, I understand you need a fresh arm in the bullpen, but he only went 2 innings and he's a starter. He could have came back out if you needed him tonight and gave you another 2 innings.
Yep. Yeah,
That's the thing I don't understand about these roster moves for the Rays. Is you saw how good Chandler Simpson was.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes down instead of a guy like Cameron Meisner. I don't care that Cameron Meisner gives you really good defense at center field. He is, like I said a minute ago, he's hitting 170.
Mm-hmm.
That's atrocious. And then we get to the next recap is the Pirates and the Marlins. And we could actually let's do this to make it easier, because scoreboard not for tonight. We need to go to Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Marlins and Pirates. And you see Yuri Perez made his season debut. Why don't we go look at the box score and see who had the. So the Pirates won 10-3. O'Neal Cruz. Where. How do we get O'Neal Cruz out of this 227 average? You get him up to like, I'm not going to say 300, but like 270, 280.
I think he may need to be a little bit more patient, but at the plate.
I see he did walk.
One walk, one strikeout. Yeah.
Yeah. Dreaded strikeout. McCutchen. The old man can still hit.
3 for 5. Not bad. I mean, he's hitting 264. I mean, Kutch, yeah, he's been a solid player his whole career.
Yeah. So I'm just going to call him the ageless wonder.
Yeah. Yep.
You see Alexander Canario didn't have it. Looks like he came in as a defensive replacement.
Left field. Yeah.
Yep. Spencer Horwitz. 1 for 4.
2 runs though. Not
bad. He did score 2 runs. He was involved. He's on the Pirates because he got traded to the Pirates in the offseason. Adam Frazier went 3 for 5.
Mm-hmm.
With a run and 1 RBI. He did strike out. The guy I want to look at is, and this last name might sound familiar, Brian Hayes. To MLB fans, if you don't know the last name Hayes, Bradley probably does. Brian Hayes' father played in the majors. If my memory serves me, am I wrong or right on that?
Who was his dad?
Charlie Hayes?
Might have been, but let me look that up real quick. Hang on a second. Let me see. Charlie Hayes. Let's see. Make sure I got the spelling right. Let's see. Yes, he is. Yes. Yeah, he's. Yeah, let me see. And what's Hayes' first name?
Brian.
Yep, that would be his dad. Yes. Charlie Hayes he played with the, let's see, go into Baseball Reference. That's the best website if you're ever looking up. Played third base, first base, and outfield. He played for the Phillies, Yankees, Rockies, Giants, Brewers, and he ended his career in 2001 with the Houston Astros. But yes.
Yes. And Brian had 1 hit and 4 bats. He did score a run. The problem with Brian Hayes, and it seems like it's been this way for the last 2 or 3 years, and I don't know if you noticed, he strikes out a lot.
Yeah, well, that'll bite you in the butt sooner or later down the road, but yeah.
And yes, I'm pretty sure he's part of the core the Pirates are trying to build with Skeens, O'Neal Cruz, Nick Gonzalez, who went 2 for 5. The other guy I want to kind of pinpoint on the Pirates side of this is Nick Gonzalez. 2 for 5 with a run scored. He did strike out. He is said to be their second baseman of the future. And okay. Obviously, as we see, O'Neal Cruz is now in center field. And there's a reason. I don't think it was defense. I don't think it was because of his defense. They got a kid that might be up either at the end of this year or next year, and Tamar Johnson. That's one of the best shortstops in minor league baseball. That is probably going to be their everyday shortstop next year. Now we flip over to the Marlins side, and we look at, is there anybody on the Marlins side that really stands out to you?
Other than Otto Lopez, who had one at-bat, one hit, one RBI, one run. I mean, he had 2 walks, so I guess he had 2 at-bats. Other than that, nope, I don't see anybody that...
I would say the only one that maybe stands out for me is their designated hitter, Hernandez, who, little known fact, used to be a prospect in the Rays minor league system. Roberto Hernandez used to be a prospect with the Rays. Now he's obviously, as we see, he's with the Marlins. And he took the roster spot that was occupied by another guy that used to be in the Rays system, and Ronnie Simon, who was DFA'd after having a 3-error game last week. Which, I'm sorry, I feel like that was the Marlins shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have DFA'd him. Everybody has bad games. But look at Hernandez, 2 for 4, a run scored, didn't strike out, didn't walk, hitting 400.
Well, the Pirates had 15 hits. That'll win you games.
10 runs, 15 hits. Their big innings were the 3rd, the 6th, and then they added on 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th.
Yep.
So I know they're still in last place, but as we said, maybe they're kind of figuring things out.
Well, that's 4 wins in a row because they swept the Phillies over the weekend, so that's 4 in a row for the Pirates.
They're going for 5 tonight.
Phillies got back on track.
Yes, they did.
16 hits. Oof. Bad night for the Cubs. Oof.
Well, and you see it took 11 innings. Yeah, it was a lighter schedule last night. Oh, let's talk about the Diamondbacks. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't see the Diamondbacks game last night, yes, it took 11 innings, but I'll give you one guess who had the game-winning hit. It is the brother of Bo Naylor's brother.
Their first baseman?
Yep. Walk-off grand slam.
Oh, that's the best way to do it.
Nowhere to put him.
Clear the
As
bases.
you see, a former Ray, Jalen Beeks, got the win. You know what? As much as we like to dog on the Rays for trading guys, I'm happy to see that Jalen Beeks is doing good in Arizona.
Yep.
I remember Jalen Beeks from when he was with the Rays, and he was every other day he was the opener. Pick 3 guys on the Diamondbacks that stood out for you in this game.
Well, Naylor, obviously, he went 3 for 5, 2 runs, 5 RBIs, according to the walk-off granny. Thomas went 2 for 5 with a strikeout, 1 run.
And then
Perdomo 1 for 3 with two hits or 2 runs, 3 walks, 1 strikeout.
I would say the 3 guys that stuck out for me. I'll go Perdomo 1. He went 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored, 3 walks. I think if he wants to keep his starting job, he's got to keep getting on base.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I understand he got an extension, but that doesn't mean jack squat.
No.
You go into you slump at all, you might lose your starting job. The second one that stands out to me is Didn't we just talk about Jordan Lawler earlier?
We did.
Look at Eugenio Suarez. 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts.
Yep, not good. Not good.
208 average. Okay, yeah, whatever. 228 average. That's still bad.
I was gonna say if you go 0 for 5, that's still not good either.
No. And then the other one I'll take is Corbin Carroll going 1 for 5 with the RBI in 1 hit and 5 ABs and a run.
Looks like he had a home run. His home run was the first run that the Diamondbacks scored.
Yes. Overall, it seems to be a good wrap. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard of next week, there will only be one show next week for me and Bradley because I will not be in town Wednesday. I will not be in town Thursday when we usually do our show. Next Tuesday's show will not be a Extra Innings Podcast. It'll be a show that we have rebranded. It is not the Sports Talk, the Sports Nation podcast anymore. It is the Bradley and Alec show. We have decided to rebrand to the Bradley and Alex show. And our main topics on next week's show on Tuesday will be college football and wrestling. And I think our wrestling is going to get heated next Tuesday because we're going to talk about Money in the Bank.
Oh. Oh. Yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that's going to wrap up tonight's episode of the Extra Innings Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and also leave your comments down in the comment section down below on anything to do with baseball. And Bradley and I, because he probably watches the video back because he's got to put it. Oh, we also part of the NGSC Sports Network. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the show. But you know the website, ngscsports.com. And the show will be up on the website.
Yeah, I can put it up tonight. I can put it up
within the next 2 hours. Yeah.
Correct. Now that I have my laptop, got my laptop back, I can put it back up right away. Yeah.
Okay, but that'll wrap up tonight's show. We will see. Bradley, tell them about your show and where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, me and Alec will be back for our show on Thursday. My show will be at 8 p.m. Thursday night. It'll be the Walker Report. You can find me on YouTube at that exact name, the Walker Report. And we'll be talking about all the latest sports topics. I think so far I have the NFL, MLB, and college football. There's been some rule changes in college basketball as well. We could talk about all that on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So,
And that will wrap it up. We will see everybody Thursday night.
Good night, guys.